Hi guys, this video is part of a series of video shorts created from a set of masterclasses developed by Think Big in Youngry Wide State. Each workshop was supported by an organisation with experience in the field. This workshop was supported directly by Youngry Wide State, who championed the idea of tech solutions to real-world problems. This guide is all about using digital tools to help you manage your project. We're going to go over a few different online platforms you can use to plan your time, split tasks among the team, and make sure that things are getting done on time. We'll be looking at the basic functions of Slack and Trello, which let a whole team of people work together and have input on a project. We'll also take a quick look at an easy way to make a Gantt chart, and maybe an explanation of what a Gantt chart is. This video covers the basics. All the platforms covered have very comprehensive tutorial sections. Be sure to check them out for more info. We'll be running through these things pretty quickly. Make sure you pause the video to give yourself a chance to explore these platforms and work out exactly what they're capable of. Before you can do anything else, it's useful to know exactly what needs doing for your project. If you've started a Think Big project, or you're going to start one, you should use that as the basis for this exercise. If you're still working out your ideas, or if you're a bit stuck, that's not a problem. You can work from this case study, which we will be using throughout this video. The YRS Think Big Garden. You and your team are channeling Alan Titchmarsh. You're trying to get a piece of wasteland in your area turned into an allotment, so you can use it as a space to bring the community together. It will be useful for teaching young people about healthy eating, as well as helping the elderly get out of the house. The Post-it note exercise. We call this one the Post-it note exercise, although you don't have to have Post-it notes for it. A pen and paper will suffice. Have a think about your project, or the case study. Take 5 minutes to write down as many tasks as you can think of that you will need to do to complete your project. Once you start thinking about it, there is loads of stuff that you can add here. Application writing, social media management, venue booking, advertising, budgeting, writing evaluations, getting quotes, buying equipment, recruiting volunteers. As I said, there's lots of stuff. Ask yourself questions like, what things need to be done on the day as part of your project delivery? If you've got a social media plan, what's going to be in it? Are there particular campaigns you're going to do? What are they? What specific tasks will they involve? If you've got tasks like have an opening celebration, think about all the little jobs you need to do to get to that point. For example, if you've got things like resource making, some events and some workshops, then you need to think about buying your resources, booking event venues, and what planning a workshop entails. Hopefully you've got a bit of an overview of some of the stuff that you're going to need to do. Don't be worried if it looks like a lot. The whole point of this video is to help you break down your tasks and manage them effectively. The Post-it note exercise part 2. What needs to happen when? Have a look at your list of tasks. Is it possible to group them into different groups? Depending on your project, this might be as simple as planning, delivery, and evaluation. Your planning group would have tasks like working out the budget, recruiting volunteers, or designing your logo. Or you could find it more useful to split it into groups like volunteers, events, and marketing. Within marketing, you might have put up posters in community centres and design posters. Make sure that you order your tasks too. You need to make sure that you've got your design posters task before your put up posters in community centres task. Take 5 minutes to split your tasks into categories and order them. Congratulations, you've now got a project plan. Now let's have a look at some programs which you can use to manage your and your team's time. What is a Gantt chart? We're going to be using TeamGantt, but first of all, what is a Gantt chart? A Gantt chart maps out all of your tasks, kind of like we've already done. The difference with using a Gantt chart is that every stage or task can be given a start and an end date. When you're starting out with a project, there can be a good way of planning your time effectively. Or if you're already running a project, you could use one to make sure that everything you need to do gets done on time. TeamGantt.com. We're going to look at TeamGantt.com, an online Gantt chart maker. The name might give it away, but you can create Team Gantt charts so that everyone can be given tasks and have an idea of where you're at with the project. TeamGantt offer a free trial period. Then after that, if you think it's really useful, you could look to include it into your project budget. Alternatively, there are loads of free Gantt chart templates available. Microsoft Excel has some templates, as does Google Docs. There are some links to some good templates available on the Think Big Digital Toolkit too. Step 1. First of all, go ahead and make yourself an account. You don't have to input any card details, so don't worry about going over your trial period. Be careful though, after your trial period, your account will freeze. TeamGantt works by one person creating an account and then a project in their account which they can add everyone else on the team to. Go ahead and create an account. Step 2. Starting a new project. You should find yourself on a page that looks like this. This is the dashboard. For today, we're going to go ahead and create a new project from the My Active Projects section. You'll need to name your project and decide how many working days there are in your week. Are you going to have project delivery on weekends? It's worth factoring that in. We're going to start with a blank project from the drop-down menu. Step 3. Adding members and resources. Next, TeamGantt will prompt you to add team members and resources. You will need to add team members for them to be able to see the chart and to be able to assign tasks to them. You can skip this step by hitting I'll do this later. Resources are like team members, but external ones. For example, you might be getting an agency to design a website for you. This agency will be a resource. Adding team members is easy. Just click the Add Manage People button, and then in the pop-up menu box type in their name. If they aren't already connected to you, you will need to hit Add New and put in their email address. Once you've added them, they'll receive an email with some instructions on how to add themselves to the project. Do that and hit the Back button. Step 4. Adding tasks. Your screen will have a placeholder example for a group of tasks called First Group and an example task underneath it. It should correspond to the first group of tasks you created during the Post-it note exercise. Then, add the first task from your group in the same way. Go through all of the tasks and groups you came up with in the Post-it note exercise and add them to your chart. To add a new task or group, just hit the tab under the last task in your list. You can also add milestones from here. Milestones help you to highlight important dates, maybe an application deadline or the date of a workshop delivery, or a specific date when a group of tasks should be finished by. Try adding some milestones to your project to give it some structure. Step 5. Adding dates. Now that your tasks are added, you can input when each task needs to be done by very easily. To the right of your task list is a calendar. Each column represents one day, with the dates running along the top of the window. Hovering over a task will highlight it in grey, then click and drag on the date you want the task to start through to the date when the task should be completed by. A blue rectangle should appear over the dates chosen. Milestones are represented by little yellow diamonds. By definition, they can only happen on one day. Remember, they are an endpoint or a deadline. They can be dragged and placed in the same way. The grey bar that appears at the top gives you an overview of how long a group of tasks will last. You can change the date of the whole group in relation to one another by clicking and dragging on this bar. Have a go at putting the dates against all of your tasks. Remember that some things need to be finished before other things can start, like promotional material design and distribution. Other things might last the whole length of a project, like a Twitter campaign to accompany your project. Step 6. Assigning tasks to people. To help everyone know what they're doing, you can assign people tasks. Doing that is easy. To the right of your project list is a column called People Assigned. Click in that column next to the task you wish to assign, and a window will pop up with a list of everyone who has been invited to join the project, and all the resources added. Hit the right person, and their name will appear next to the task. At the bottom of the screen is a table which shows you how many tasks people in your project have assigned to them on any given day. Each column of numbers corresponds to the dates at the top of the screen. The row changes colour depending on how many tasks they have assigned to them on any given day. If a person has loads of tasks, it will show in red. This helps to make sure no one is getting stressed out with their workload, while someone else isn't doing very much. Have a go at assigning some tasks. Keep an eye on the panel at the bottom to make sure you're not overworking anyone. Step 7. Uploading files and comments. Your team might want to add comments to tasks to update how they're going, or why they're running late. You might also want to add files which correspond to tasks, agendas, receipts, floor plans, anything that is useful to the task in hand. To the left of each task is a little paperclip and a speech bubble. The paperclip lets you add files, and the speech bubble lets you add a comment. There you go, you've created a Gantt chart. There are a few more features to TeamGantt. If you're interested, check out their video tutorials at teamgantt.com/videos. Slack.com. Now let's take a quick look at Slack.com. Slack is a web-based platform that lets a whole team discuss updates or progress on particular parts of a project in different conversations. Think of it as work-based WhatsApp groups. It works using channels. We'll focus on that when we come to it. Step 1. Signing up. Go ahead and click Sign Up, and on the next screen, put in your email address. Slack works by one person setting up a group Slack and then other members of the team joining it. Next, you'll be asked to put in your company or team name. Go with whatever your Think Big project is called. You'll be given a URL for your team Slack. You can use this to sign in directly next time. Enter a username. This will show in any input you make to the team Slack, so make sure it's something people recognise. Confirm your details and click Create. Slack offers you a run-through of the site. You can watch it or skip it by clicking the link at the bottom. We're going to run through some of the main features now. If you get stuck, you can talk to Slackbot, who will try and help you out. Click Slackbot from the direct messages on the left and then chat to it using the chat box along the bottom of the screen. Step 2. Inviting people. Before you do anything else, it might be useful to invite the rest of your team. At the bottom of the menu bar on the left is a place where you can add team members. You can only invite full members with a free subscription, but that should be fine for your purposes. Just put in their email address and hit invite. They'll get an email which talks them through the rest. Step 3. Creating channels and chatting. So, we discussed that Slack works using channels. Channels let you talk about a particular thing in a space of its own. You might have one channel called Marketing, and in it you could discuss the progress of the design process, or how things are going with the printers, etc. And then you might have another one related to volunteer management. It's worth having a look at your project plan to work out what channels you might need, or create new channels as you need them. Creating a channel is as easy as clicking Create a Channel from the menu bar on the left-hand side. In the pop-up menu, give it a name and describe what it's for. Once it's created, you can then invite people to join it by clicking the channel and following the link. Channels are visible to everyone in your team, and by clicking on an existing channel, anyone in a team can join any of the channels. If you want to speak to someone directly or privately, use the Direct Messages option from the menu bar. Just hit it and then hit their name. Step 4. Adding files. You can add files to channels so that they can be discussed or reviewed really easily. Open the channel you want and then drag and drop the file into your browser. It will be added to the channel and everyone in the team will be able to see it. That is a run through of the basics of Slack. There are a few more features too. Have a click around or have a word with the Slack bot. Trello.com. Finally, we're going to have a look at Trello. If Slack is for talking about your project, then Trello is for getting the tasks done. It works by organising your project into boards, lists and cards. We'll come to that in a moment. First of all, go ahead and sign up for an account. Step 1. Signing up. Trello is another free-to-use platform which works by one person creating an account and inviting other members of the team to it. Go ahead and click Sign Up, and then on the next screen, fill in your details. Before we discuss anything else, from the next screen, hit Create Organisation and name your organisation after your project. On the next screen, hit the Members tab and then click Add Members. Add all of your team's email addresses and they'll get emails telling them how to do the rest. Step 2. Creating boards. Now we'll create a board. Think of a board as a massive scrapbook for your project. Later, this is where you will put all your lists and cards, which will make sense in the next step. You might find you only need one board for your whole project, or if your project is complicated, use several boards using the groups that you created in the post-it note exercise as a guide. Have a go at adding some boards using your project plan. Step 3. Creating lists. Inside of your board, Trello will prompt you to add your first list. Lists are where you collect sets of ideas, things to remember, or things to do for a particular bit of your project. For example, if you have boards specifically for your workshop delivery, you might have a list within it about venues, or another list within that about teaching resources. Have a look at your project plan and create some lists. Just type in the name where it says Add List, and then hit Save. Your list will show as a grey window. Next to it, a new list will show where you can add another, or it might say Add List. Step 4. Adding cards. So now we have some lists, we can add cards to them. Cards are tasks or thoughts or things to remember which you need to get a list done. To use our example of a board for project delivery with a list in it called venues, you might have cards within it specifically about contacting venues, conducting site visits, or guest lists for the day. Go ahead and create some cards. Now click on one of the cards and a window will pop up with some more options. This is where you can make Trello really useful. From here, you can add specific team members to cards, use colour coding to organise your project, add a checklist to help you make sure that all your tasks are done, comments, attachments and due dates. For example, our Contact Venues card might have a checklist of venues to get in touch with, some files containing some floor plans, and a due date for when the venues need to be booked by. Have a go at adding some checklist items and a due date. You might want to refer to your milestones on your Gantt chart. What you need here will differ from project to project, so it's worth experimenting with and seeing what's useful to you. And we're done! That was a very brief intro, and depending on your project, the way you use these platforms can vary massively. All of these platforms have more features. Find a platform that you're comfortable with and have a click around, and then you'll have the best organised project on the whole Think Big programme. Good luck!